Okay, morning everyone. First thing to do is a bit of advice for younger people in the room. If somebody asks you to do a favour, don't do it, you get dragged. And if you do get it, don't just make up a title as you're walking out of the room and then have to worry about what you're going to talk about afterwards. So I've a slightly different approach from previous talks. I've gone more for a hangover friendly approach. I'm normally one sat in the audience dying. Again, McKinnon's not here this year, so I might have got away with that one. So, collagen food sector, we do use the same raw material. Collagen is very versatile. It's used in many areas: food, leather, biomedical. Big crossover. I think some of these industries actually work together a bit more. They do work a bit separately. And we do have the same problems. I promise you no equations, but I'll show you some of our problems that are still related. Actually, some of the work that Michael was talking about is really, really important to what we're doing with sausages, sausage skins, and cooking, primary cooking, secondary cooking. I'll show you. But just for those who don't know who we are, we're one of the world's leaders manufacturers of collagen casing. Over 1,000 customers in 100 countries. We don't just make casing, we make gel and we make film as well. These are our sites. There's 1, 2, 3, we'll keep it changing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 manufacturing sites. That's a bit more than that. In the Czech Republic, there's a plastics company and also a collagen company. And in Scotland, there are 2 manufacturing sites, but 10 miles apart. I go regularly to these factories. Never been to there once. And don't want to go over there anyway. Not bad. These are our products. Edible casing, non-edible casing. That's not that you couldn't eat it. It's just not very pleasant to eat. I have done it as a bet. Drink was involved. It's quite chewy. The phrase was, it's a bit like leather. It's the same material. It's just heavily stabilised. I wouldn't use the word tanning. We wouldn't tan something in the food industry, we would stabilise it. Cross-linking, maybe, the overlap. We make flat film for hams, we make gel, and we have plastic casing as well. Our core business is edible collagen casing for sausages. Wide range of sausages, thousands of types. For those in the UK, or from the colonies, our empire was wide once. The predominance is for a fresh sausage. That is meat filled in the casing, goes to the retailer or butcher, customer gets it, customer cooks it. That's a fresh sausage. The definition does get a bit blurry. The vast majority of sausage in the world is actually processed. It's actually pre-cooked, so steamed, smoked. So the sausage is actually cooked and then goes to the consumer, and they will then cook it again. We call that secondary cooking. Flat films we have. We make this in 2 kilometre reels, 60 centimetres wide. This is near to a synthetic on the reel leather as you could get, but we obviously make it very, very thin so you can eat it. So we use these, or our customers use these flat films to wrap hams, and they put the net on. And I'm trying to describe it, I've got a picture. We put a net on and then cook it. When we take the net off, what they want to see is this nice pattern here, and none of the surface be ripped off. So putting a collagen film in between there helps you remove that netting, but it also retains moisture in the ham. So 1 or 2% moisture loss is actually a lot of money when the scale of these companies. It's quite an interesting material. That there's a couple of samples of it and played around in the past. So what do we make it from? I actually like this picture. For the people I normally give a presentation to, this is the best way of describing split. Once I've got over the shock that the raw materials come from Tannery. So no need to describe it. We take the lime split, that's our raw material, that's what we buy. That is, we're in the supply chain, this is what we buy from our different suppliers. The exception to that is we do make more than just bovine casing. We've made casing out of beef, porcine, and also poultry now, which is just about the month. But with the porcine, you take the whole hide, no splitting. Now this should be familiar. So we buy lamb splits and we put them into this sort of equipment, which should be very familiar with everybody. And the similarities are, we are basically copying the de-liming process. Probably copying a de-line process from about 30 or 40 years ago. Haven't really kept up with the trends and so on. We de-line that and we use ammonium salts. I'm not quite sure why we're doing that still, because one of our biggest problems in effluent is ammonium. We de-line the material. We sometimes enzyme treat. We don't call it baiting, but that's what it is. And then we drop the pH down to 5. So again, it's a little bit like leather manufacturers pickling, but we're not going quite as far. The reason is at pH 5, the collagen is nice and deswollen, unswollen, softer. So when we put it in the mincers and grinders, there's a lot less force goes into it. It's easy to do. You can grind line height. We actually are thinking about doing that because it'd be more effective for de-lining. We've inherited a process from the leather industry. Even the terminology is the same, it's flow. Right? The effluent problems are the same. But that's like a black art to most people, and they won't change it, or you don't change the drum process. You don't change the drum process. Why not? No, because we don't know. So we could cut it, or we could make it faster. At the moment, that takes about 36 hours in our process to get this, and thousands of litres of water. Right? We're like, in some respects, a town only 30, 40 years ago. But ultimately, this is the start of the divergence. This is a buffeted split, so it's deswollen L. And what we want to do now is we want to smash that part. While we do that, we want to keep the temperature controlled. Got a slide here, no one wants gelatin. I could maybe put a question mark on that after Michael's talk. Is actually a bit of gelatin, a bit of denatured collagen actually might be an advantage, either in the process or in the process when it gets to our customers. But generally, we don't want to denature it. And we use ice, lots and lots of ice. We're trying to keep temperature right down. So the first step is primary comminution, mincing. No one knows what comminution is. It never translates to our Czech colleagues. Just grinding or mincing. Large batches, we process about against 6-7 tons each time. Some of these pictures I'm not showing detail, and I can't go into some of the detail. There's probably of more interest to some of you, but some people in the room also supply our competitors and also have carbonated our competitors in the past. I trust them in that, but it's just a case of I'm limited to what I can say. Actually, some of the pictures are old before the rules on taking pictures in the factory came in, so they're a bit black market. they're actually a bit out of date as well, but you like that. So the first stage is we will grind it, or break it up. We're breaking it into 8mm pieces, see the scale of the centimetres. This is actually, you can actually start, what we want is the fibres, which is as students of leather have always seen the cross-section of bovine hide and these big fibre bundles and so on. On pictures, well, that is actually what we want, and you can actually start seeing the fibres becoming teased out just even after the grinding. What we want to do now is then smash that part even more. And do that secondary comminution. We can break the fibres up into long fibres and short fibres. We'll grind it, we'll mince it, we'll smash it. It's basically a physical separation of the fibres. That's mainly in our Scottish factory. There's another route of doing that, where they actually swell it first in acid, and then they break it apart. It makes a very different material. So this is what we want to make, and this is our pulp. And you can just see these are all the fibre bundles. We want to turn that into a gel. To do that, we add acid. This is what we either sell this as a co-extrusion product, or we extrude it to make our casing. And this is now back to the similarities and similar problems to the leather industry. This is all about the swelling curve and what the pH is. If you get the pH of this wrong, you'll get either too acid or too alkali. You'll either get lots of swelling or you'll get absolutely no swelling. And what happens is, this material here will either be very, very swollen and very difficult to pump, or actually very difficult to get into this stage as it is, or it will de-water and you'll get very fibrous and stringy pulp, which when you blend you get lumps and a really heterogeneous gel. So it's critical where we are on that traditional swelling curve. I talked this swelling curve, I actually realised just recently that I've been quoting or using pictures of Boson-Kenton swelling curve for years, thinking it was just, and other people describing it as just, this is like the effect of the tannery liming on the collagen. When you actually go back and read it for the first time, 20 years of quoting it, it actually isn't overnight, it's about 14 days of liming, and it's not anything like the material we're using. But we've got these pictures of these swelling curve all over the factory. I think that is pervading through the leather industry as well, by the way. I don't know how many people have actually read that paper originally. I was bored. I now travel to between England and Scotland a lot and sit in a train, and that's the highlight of my 3-hour journey. Anyway, back to the salt. So this is what we extrude, and all it is fibrous collagen. All we've done is added acid to this pulp, it swells, and we can now get the material and extrude as a continuous bubble. From the tube, what we want to do is change the pH again. So we've got it all swollen, a bit tacky. You can actually put acid swollen casing tube extruded and put it straight to a dryer. We do that with some of our technology. But we're always at some point using a bit of ammonia to change the pH. So again, our whole process is based upon where we are in that swelling curve. This is our extrusion. This is our extrusion in Scotland. That's coming out of there about, lowest is about 30 metres a minute, probably up to 150 metres a minute. Not on these lines, but on some of our lines, 150 metres a minute. No one caught that for the competitors, but it was like a ball. This is non-stop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 15 weeks of the year, right? It's all about overhead. So what we end up with is a casing that comes off the belt, full of ammonium chloride. So we now wash the casing because the ammonium chloride will affect the next stage. So we're making even more ammonium chloride. Bearing the fact that we buy ammonium sulfate, we probably make more ammonium salt than we buy. We put it all down the drain. So we do have opportunities to improve our systems. I'm not showing all the stages, but what is critical to our material is the size. This is the relation to this is probably the substance in the leather industry. So we measure. We can do two things. We can either reel the material and then shear it together. Shearing, I'll explain a bit more in a second. But it's critical we get the size right because sausages are all done on caliber. 21 mil, 28 mils. In the UK, it's 26, 28 mil as your standard sausage, 21 millimetres your chipolata. In around Europe, rest of the world, 19, 20 millimetres for your Frankfurter and your Wiener. Right? You get the caliber wrong, all sorts of trouble with custom. So we make this continuous tube at minimum 30 metres a minute, flying out of this thing. We don't sell it as that, so we sell it as shirred strands. I had promised myself that I would bring down one of our shirred strands and show you what the product was, and that's the magic, which I'll show you a picture of how we compress all this material. As the idiot I am, I've left it at my desk in Scotland and forgot to do it. But you can imagine it in a minute. So, casing's coming out the dryer. This is where temperature is important, and the moisture content is. So as it goes in, we talk about wet bulb temperature. As the moisture decreases, shrinkage temperature goes up, so we can dry at higher temperature. So we're constantly playing with this balance of moisture content, temperature, and shrinkage temperature. So all Michael was talking about before is what happens through our dryer, but we're doing it fast, and as it goes through, as it gets dry, the bulb then the dry temperature doesn't matter because the collagen is stable. We actually use a method of cross-linking, stabilises the hydrothermal cross-linking as well, where that's important. And again, we put the casing into the oven, we ramp it up slowly so that the shrinkage temperature is always ahead of the temperature in the oven itself. And when it gets to complete dryness, it will then stabilise at 90 degrees. If you put our casing into a 90-degree oven, it will shrink all over. The shirring machines pack the tube comes on this end here, and they all get folded and compressed together. And this is our final product in the box. And this is where I was going to get out the strand and walk up and down the room and amaze you with what we can do. We can get 60 metres of collagen casing into a 40 centimetre strand. The limit on the 40 centimetres is that's how long the mandrels are, or the filling horns are in the current filling machine. Right? I was going to walk up and down here probably 3 times to demonstrate it, but I'm sure your imagination is better than actually seeing me running that breath. This is actually just to show we actually do some science that I can't show you. This is some X-ray tomography of our shirred casing, and what we're interested in here is how the folds are all put in. Because if you can fold more material in there, you can get more meters into a short strand length. Because there is this limit on the length of the horn, and our customers, they want to be running non-stop. They don't want it breaks, and even the few seconds in between another casing, another strand going on, it costs them money, especially if there's a loading problem. Here's our nemesis. This is a factory scale sausage, automatic sausage filling machine. This abuses our casing, violates our casing. It wants to force meat into it. It wants to go from dry to wet. It wants to run it fast, put it in between belts. It wants to twist it. It is an animal. These are the bits. Here's the mandrel here, or the filling horn. The case has got to go on there. It's got to go on dead straight. If it doesn't go dead straight, it'll bend this. They'll charge us money. Meat goes everywhere. Disaster. Right? This is where it twists it, pulls it, belts. This is going through an immense amount of how great collagen is. Leather is as well. Same properties. This is why you can use it for many things. This is where it will be twisted. It's going to come off the same link length. Oh, that isn't going to work, is it? Unfortunately, this video was embedded, and we did have some problems. I had some problems. Christine got about 5 versions all wrong. Yeah, this one's a video. Some have seen this. Now, I do apologise to some people who went to the Beats to Beauty conference a few years ago. It was the same video that I showed there, actually pretty similar talk. There is a lot of new faces today, that's quite safe. In actual fact, the people that were there, if you remember it, that was the incident where we had 2 sets of police in the hotel foyer, in the hotel bar, completely separate incidents. I was only involved in one. I did get talked to by 2 sets, but that's not matter. This is why I love the leather industry. So even the people in the room that were there, they didn't see it, they've forgotten about it. This actually was a video to show you how fast these come off. This was a standard UK sausage, about 28mm, coming out about 600, 800 links a minute. It's just a lot of sausages flying out.
Automatic effect, isn't it?
Right, you wait till you see the end video. Sausage porn. Chipolatas, they're coming out about 600 links a minute. Right? So this material, it's only about, our finished case is about 25 microns, so 25 to 40 microns, 25 to 40 microns thick, and it's got to be filled at this pace, under pressure, all right, very fast, no breaks, no messing up. And then we abuse it, because we've got to cook it, so we're going to heat it up, we're going to denature it. It's a conditioning experiment for Michael, this one. I've shown the UK bang sausage. Did anybody eat any sausage this morning? No, did you? Come on. If you don't eat them, can you take one and then just let them bin it? We rely on people eating sausages. Right? And it's in your supply chain to eat sausages or at least use them. We will fry them, and what we want for the end consumer is them not to notice the casing at all. Right? And the first place that they can notice, the first place they notice it is the clarity. They like to see the meat show. The second one is when they're cooking, right? So they don't want to see it splitting and bursting and all sorts of messes. They want to not notice it. They want to go nice and brown, put on sausage and eat it. Right, where's that? Oh, I'll open the video up on the desktop. Where is it? Unit from file. Where's that? Can't see something I'll pause this first. This was a video. One of the harshest environments that our casing can get is actually deep fat frying. And there's a lot of it around the world. Processed casing, processed sausages, dropped in deep fat fryers, China, Latin America, all over. So what's critical to us is actually how it cooks. There's problems with deep fat frying, they can be quite dramatic, and the consumer's not very happy. Although in some areas they get used to it and that's what they want, this crispy, horrible thing. So some of our Czech colleagues have been looking at comparing our competitors. We've got just about to launch a new product. It's doing quite well, but we're launching it on its cooking, performance and DFF. And we have compared it to, and it isn't just the worst competitor, we actually compared it to the best competitor in this application. But it is done by the Czechs, and there's two versions of this. One of them was to Queen's We Are the Champions, which has been banned, although it was quite amusing. And then it's to a very dramatic Czech ballad of some form. Well, excuse me for the... oh, why is it not coming up? Oh God, disaster again. No, it's not working. This is thrilling. It's working. We did on the screen, didn't it? Talk amongst yourselves. You've had the build up. So she's a competitor.
Too excited.
Right, and this is our new product. 180 degrees in there. You see what it's got? Music is good, isn't it? It builds, it does build. So there's an awful lot of stress up and there.
I find the shaped sausage to start with.
Failure. This is collagen shrinking at its best. This is now not going very well. Ours isn't exploding down, it's not breaking, it's sticking to the meat. There's also some pressure coming out. My personal belief is a lot down to permeability of the collagen, which permeability of leather as a material is its feature. So again, it's still keeping those similar properties as to what you're working with in here. Don't try and tell too many of our customers that it's that level. Right, let's just go on a little bit. Because they're now bring, yeah.
Water.
That's oil underneath the grease. All it is now is actually take it out of the bath and leave it from focus. We're very pleased with it. Not very you wouldn't want to read that. Now, we slathering. Lunch is not that far away. If we're lucky, we've got somebody. I don't know how to get that. Right, and then I whip it to the other. And then, after all of that, right, the machining, the processing, the cooking, the last part is you ain't got to eat it. Probably one of my better pictures. This is actually a picture of the world's first 100% chicken sausage. Right, which I was involved in, and I ate it, and I'm eating too many sausages. I'm not the stealth figure that I was when I joined the leather school years ago. Right? All of these features, the filling, the cooking, the eating, we can control all of them with various stabilisation and cross-linking methods. The problem is they're all opposing. If you can get primary cooking right, secondary cooking will be rubbish. Secondary edibility is going to be rubbish. It's just a real complex mix. It's as complex as making leather. So that is collagen used in a different environment entirely, but actually using the same principles. Don't use chrome. Could be a great case. And how versatile it is. So thank you for your time. I'm sorry about the technical.